Good day, gentlemen. I'll be upgrading to Town Hall 14 relatively soon, so I figured I should do something to highlight the two attacks that I found the most success with in Town Hall 13. Pass on the knowledge, so to speak. The two in question are Queen Charge Twin Hogs and Recall Super Boulder Smash. If my editing is correct, the two armies should be on screen right now. Before we discuss these two attacks, we need to begin with some fundamentals of Queen Charge for the more casual players among us. This is not to shame people or anything, I used to be the same, Zap E drag spammer before I picked up more advanced armies. Like its name suggests, the Queen Charge revolves around the Archer Queen. You use 5 healers to keep the Queen topped off, everything else you bring or do serves to either keep the Queen or the healers alive. There's some nuance about why you might want to bring 5 healers or 4 or 6 due to diminishing returns, but that is kind of beyond the scope here. We start with keeping the healers alive. Their worst enemy is the Seeking Air Mine, and the cheapest bait that can still trigger Seeking Air Mines is the Balloon, so we bring a couple balloons to send in with our Queen Charge to test for traps. Since they kinda fall down like coconuts when they die, these are called Coco-loons. There's not much you can do for your healers otherwise, so we move on to the Queen. We can kind of group defenses into 3 categories. The first is core defenses. This includes the single target inferno, clan castle, defending heroes, etc. Extra care has to be taken when going into these because they can and will kill your queen quickly. Without a queen, there is no queen charge. Duh. The second are the point defenses. They kind of all do about the same damage, ranging around 130 to 170 damage per second. We have the cannon, the Archer Tower, Expo, the Tesla, Town Hall, the Scattershot. Yes, Town Hall and Scattershot are not point defenses. No, I don't care. And the third are the don't cares. Named as such because you don't actually plan for them in your attacks, except maybe in pathing. These include the multi-target Inferno, Wizard Tower, Bomb Tower, and Mortar. As an asterisk, the multi-Inferno Tower can be an immense threat to your healers if your queen goes off course in a well-designed base, but that's also kind of beyond the scope here. Anyway, they don't actually pose any threat to your queen, so we don't care about them. Air Sweepers are special, so I will mention them later. Without the influence of Rage, the 5 healers you bring can sustain 2 point defenses, give or take, on your queen. This is generally not enough, because the deeper your queen goes into a base, the more likely she'll be under heavy fire from scattershots, expos, you name it. There's a lot of things you can do to alleviate survival pressure in a queen charge. Raging the healers increases their healing output from 252 to 706 healing per second. For reference, in a perfect scenario where the queen doesn't actually move and the air sweeper doesn't exist, this is slightly more healing than 4 expos simultaneously firing at your queen. You can also pack freezes to reset the single target inferno or the enemy hero, or just any densely packed area in general to reduce healing pressure. I always pack an invisibility spell because you can use it to fix queen pathing if she starts to go off course, and if she's under so much fire that a freeze is not enough, and invisibility for 4 seconds of breathing room can be really helpful. The final get out of jail free card is the Invisibility Vial, previously the Royal Cloak. This doesn't actually prevent your queen from dying necessarily, as the enemy Grand Warden, the Scattershot, maybe super minions, and the Clan Castle, they hit very hard and still can kill her through the little bit of healing from the ability. But nevertheless, this is something you can use to alleviate healing pressure. Now that we know all the tools at our disposal, when exactly should we use these tools? Timing is critical when using spells. The rule of thumb is to use them sparingly. Trying to wait until the best moment to use spells can end up getting your queen killed, so use them well before your queen is at critical health. Letting queen auto ability can also be risky in high density areas, so it might be better to use ability before she goes to 0 health, as mentioned earlier. For rage spells, there's kinda 3 levels. The first level is to at least rage the healers, because they are what keeps your queen alive. The second level is also raging the queen to boost her damage output, and the last level is to put rage spells in a way that predicts her pathing, so the queen gets rage effect even after killing a couple buildings and moving forwards. Each level builds on the last, but only level 1 is necessary. Mastering placement and timing of spells takes lots and lots of practice, so don't be afraid to use Queen Charge as your farming strategy. Now that we covered how to keep your Queen Charge going, we should talk about why we Queen Charge to begin with. The point of a queen charge is to have a stable way to create pathing for your army. It is heavily reliant on the archer queen staying alive, obviously, but also where she goes. As we all know, the queen's AI works in mysterious ways, so she might not even go in the direction you initially want. Therefore, you want to bring funneling troops to help the queen go where you want. The cheaper the better, but whatever works, works. Whether this be super barbs, sneaky goblins, baby dragon. A strange trick I found while doing queen charge is to do a very wide funnel. That is, you take out the building one past the building adjacent to your queen, and not necessarily the buildings that are directly adjacent to your queen. This takes out potential targets for her to move to the side and forces her to target buildings deeper into the base. One last caveat, as mentioned earlier, is the problem of air sweepers. They make it so that healers need to slowly waddle their way back in range to heal the queen, which significantly decreases healing when not under rage, and still decreases a decent chunk of healing while under rage. The exact percentage healing reduction is not that easy to measure, but just keep this in mind when planning your queen charge route. I use the Flame Flinger a lot in my attacks, and it's for good reason. It can chip away at defenses out of their ranges, generating a lot more value than other siege machines. Not only that, the fire spirits flung by it has this form of AoE burning damage. The exact radius I'm not too sure, but the buildings that are at most one tile away from the target, except directly diagonal, they get hit by the AoE. This can be very helpful, not only because it clears surrounding non-defense buildings and walls, but also because it hits surrounding defenses. This is significant because while the Flame Flinger can outrange most defenses like archer towers, cannons, etc., it can't outrange air expos and obviously ground expos, mortars, and monolith, though that's not very significant for us. There's not much to be done about expos because they're way too tanky, but you can in fact abuse the Flame Flinger's AoE to hit surrounding defenses that kill the mortar along the way. In the worst case scenario where the mortar is the furthest building out, that is, you can't use the AoE to naturally take out the mortar, you can still use the Yeti to temporarily tank a mortar for the Flame Flinger to take the mortar out. On the topic of CC, we should discuss what actually goes into my clan class when attacking. For farming attacks, we don't actually know if the base is anti-2-star or anti-3-star, which I will explain later. I recommend 2 Yetis and a Rocket Loon, because this is the standard blimp configuration for taking out either a chunk of defenses or sniping the Town Hall. This can still work fine inside a Flame Flinger though, just as a side note. If you know for a fact that you'll be using the Flame Flinger instead of Battle Blimp, whether that's for Clan War League or Clan Wars, it makes a lot more sense to take greedier CC troops that can take out both defending heroes, trash buildings, and defenses alike. I recommend 3 Super Minions and a Rocket Loon. This is especially effective if your Flame Flinger goes into a compartment with like an enemy queen or royal champion, because these can kill defending champions quickly and go back to farming ground targeting defenses. With the fundamentals done, we can discuss the actual attack strategies. Defending bases tend to follow 2 schools of thought with their design, anti-2-star and anti-3-star. Anti-2-star meaning the town hall is reasonably centralized with some or most core defenses next to it. This tends to take the shape of ring bases, where the central compartment is filled to the brim with high damage defenses, while outer rings are just for troops to path around while getting pelted by whatever is in the center. On the other hand, anti-3-star bases think that centralizing everything is pretty silly. After all, Blizzard or Blimp with Super Wizards can easily take out most or even all the threats in a given base. With this in mind, anti-3-star bases try to spread out the core defenses, often resulting in the Town Hall either partially offset from center or just in a side compartment altogether. Obviously, attacking bases with completely different design principles using the same army isn't the greatest idea in existence, which is why I have 2 strategies, one for each type. We start with Queen Charge Twin Hogs. The recommended army and clan castle composition is shown on screen. Note that the Yeti is kinda just there for the Flame Flinger, for bases where there's either no outer mortar to tank or Flame Flinger is just kinda infeasible in general because there's a bunch of ground expos or something. You can get rid of the Yeti for something else, whether that be like an Apprentice Warden to help with a Queen Charge, more funneling, more cleanup troops, more Hogs, whatever you want. This attack is very strong against anti-3-star bases because heavy defenses being spread out means there's not only less concentrated pressure on a Queen Charge, but also less pressure on your Super Hogs when pushing through the base. On the other hand, for empty 2-star bases, most of the Queen charge on the outer layers would be against like irrelevant defenses or non-defenses that don't even help the Super Hogs at all. So you need to either send the Queen all the way into the core or do some form of Yeti blimp for it to work. Not saying that it doesn't work, just that it's a bit trickier. Let's take an arbitrary base just as an example to show off, you know, what you're thinking when you're attacking with the strategy. In this case, my own base. You sort of arbitrarily split the base into 4 quadrants. This doesn't have to be very scientific or anything. It's just to show you like how much each portion of your attack should be doing. And for this, you expect your Queen Charge to take out 1 quadrant, your Flame Flinger to take out most, if not all, of 1 quadrant, and your Twin Hogs to take out the rest, basically. That's the plan. Now, let's take a look at this space. With the knowledge that we know, let's first think, where do we put the Flame Flinger? Okay, so there is a ground expo here, right? Which implies that we can't probably even, and there's a mortar here, which implies that we can't take out most of this quadrant because the ground expo vastly outranges the Flame Flinger, and the mortar also outranges your Flame Flinger. So you either put a lot of tanking, like a king in there, which is not worth whatsoever, or you just go somewhere else. Okay, fine. What about this quadrant? Well, there's a expo here, and the Town Hall won't be activated until something hits it, but nothing is like 1 tile next to it, so the AoE from the Flame Flinger won't hit it either. So you're gonna kill off all of these, and then it's gonna start hitting the expo, but it gets outranged by the expo, so the Flame Flinger dies. No bueno. What about this one? This quadrant is actually alright, because it's realistically just this mortar that's threatening, right? And then, you know, once the Flame Frigate gets into range of the mortar, you can put a Yeti down. That's fine. Alternatively, what about this quadrant? Huh, there's no expos. There's only 1 relatively exposed mortar. I think we should go from here. So the plan then is that you expect the Flame Finger to take out, let's say, like, at least these bits, right? Maybe not like any further, but these defenses, if you tank properly, the Flame Finger should take. Okay, fine. Now, where does Queen go? Crucially, the Queen must kill off the stuff in the Clan Castle. Why? Because for a ground attack, Clan Castle troops can be devastating, whether that be like, I don't know, like Super Dragon, or like super minions or whatever meta Clan Castle there is, it sucks for your swishy Hogs, right? So the Queen takes the responsibility of killing the Clan Castle. Since we are going to take out this quadrant anyway, we should probably take an adjacent one. This one is hard to trigger the CC and also doesn't provide enough value. And also Town Hall is exposed and poses a bigger threat to the Hogs than the Eagle Artillery. Therefore, we should probably choose the Town Hall. So then, we expect the Queen to take out this bit, give or take, not very scientific, and then fine. After that, where do the Twin Hogs go? We want to push the Twin Hog into the hardest bit first. What does that mean? That means we want to start with the side with the heaviest defenses. In this case, the Eagle Artillery doesn't actually do a lot of upfront damage to the Hogs. It's very delayed and it's not very high DPS at all. So what you should actually look at is the Town Hall, the Scatter Shot, the other Scatter Shot. Well, we expect the Town Hall and the Scatter Shot to die from our previous portions of the army. Therefore, since the Scatter Shot poses more threat than the Eagle Artillery, we decide that we should push the Super Hogs this way. Fine. Then, once your Super Hogs are going in, you want to sprinkle in normal Hogs from the side. Like, yeah. Or, you know, earlier. It doesn't really matter. But the idea is that so the Super Hogs keep pushing through and doesn't go wander off to the side like this. Also, not only that, but also the super hogs will be tanking for the normal hogs. So it's kind of like a symbiotic relationship where the normal hogs provide pathing for the super hogs and the super hogs tank for the normal hogs. Anyway, once you start the attack, everything will be firing at the super hogs. So you want to use Warden's Eternal Tome and Rage to quickly, probably like rage about like yeah. I'm terrible at drawing circles, but you get what I mean. Rage about there to quickly blast through this quadrant to get through the very heavy bits and proceed to the lighter bits, right? And the king either from the side like here and expected to go all the way through there, or alternatively, since the king doesn't actually play a big part in a Twin Hogs attack, you could use a king as a emergency backup funnel for your queen. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. This actually happened because I suck at funneling. So the king is kind of like, you know, he can go wherever needs him is fine. If you didn't use him for funneling, then he can go on the side in the main attack, like so. If you do need him for funneling, then you know it's fine if you don't have him there. It's all good. And then once Twin Hogs go through, sprinkle some funnel troop, or not funnel troop, cleanup troops about here, whatever, right? That one's up to you. And that's the plan. So as planned, we send in some test troops to look for Teslas because you don't want the Flamefinger to trigger any Teslas and die early on. So the Flamefinger is gonna work on the top right and do whatever it is doing. And we expect the Queen to go into the Town Hall compartment to take out the Town Hall. So far it's going fine-ish. Some Coco Loons just in case there's traps. And here I realize, hold up, the queen is not going where I want. So I sent in the king as emergency funnel as mentioned earlier. Slightly embarrassing, but it's what it is. Clan Castle's here, poison spell. Note that now it's going to hit the Town Hall, and the Town Hall is going to target the healer, so we do a quick freeze. I probably should have used invisibility spell here, actually. But, whatever. I lost a healer in the meantime because I used the wrong spell. Slight L. Anyway, this is wishful thinking, Coco Loon, but it is what it is. It probably triggers like one Tesla or something. Anyway, Twin Hogs. And now we pray. Sprinkling normal hogs from the side, rage again. I actually had an extra rage lying around because my queen charge didn't use too many rages. Remember, you have probably one rage, one freeze, or one skeleton spell if you replace the freeze with a skeleton spell. So that rage was completely unnecessary. I could have swagged it for sure, but you know, oh well. And that's the attack. Shrimp OS, you know, you just sometimes just win. It's that easy. Now that we know the basics of how you might want to do a Twin Hog attack, let's take another example. Big thanks to Lord Franco from my clan, coolest person ever, for allowing me to use his base as this example. Anyway, we performed the same 4-quadrant analysis thing again. This is not very scientific once again. It looks like ass, but that's okay. This is only for illustrating where everything should go. Now, where exactly should the Flamefinger go? Let's start look at here. There's nothing that outranges the Flamefinger here. However, there's only like Ego, and that's it. There's literally nothing interesting that you can take out here. There's like no value. The Ego Artillery, nobody cares, right? So this quadrant, while viable target, is not very efficient. All right, fine. What about like the left or the right quadrant? It's just mirror imaged. It's actually pretty good. You only have a mortar that's stopping you from either side, and then you get to take out a scattershot in the meantime for your troubles. It's pretty good. Let's keep that in mind. What about this quadrant? Well, there's a Town Hall, but it's not going to activate unless you Earthquake it. And we're not gonna Earthquake it. That's a waste of a spell slot. And also, there's 2 ground expos staring at your Flamefinger in the face, so it's never going to kill the Town Hall. Don't even bother. So that's not bueno either. So it's the left or right quadrant. I kind of just arbitrarily chose the right one because I felt like it. So there you go. Then we probably expect the Flamefinger to take out about this bit-ish, give or take. Because of the mortar, you do want to put like a Yeti here or something when it gets into range, right? This is the same as before. Now, where does the queen go? Well, specifically because the Town Hall compartment is so cancerous, I think the queen should go into the Town Hall compartment. There's no value from this compartment. This compartment we can handle with the Twin Hogs by starting here. So let's still go with the Twin Hog queen here. Then we expect the queen to take out more or less this bit. And we perform the same analysis again on the remaining quadrants. Who's more, concentrated heavy fire? Well, this sign has like 1 scatter shot, this sign has 1 eagle artillery, but this sign there's like basically nothing. So the same heuristic as before, we start from the left side. So we push the hogs this way, sprinkled in normal hogs along the way to ensure pathing, some cleanup around the side, and there you go, that's the plan. As talked about before, Flamefinger on the right, attached troop for the Teslas. No Teslas, we're chilling. Queen on the top to take out the Town Hall compartment. Coco room to test for traps. I'm just chilling at this point because there's nothing to talk about. Let's talk about Queen skins. I quite like the Champion skin, but apparently most people, they like the Ice Queen or the Lunar Queen or whatever, but not the Champion's Queen. It's very strange. Anyway, now that Queen is under healing pressure, we put a Rage down. Crucially, invis the side buildings to make sure she goes into a Town Hall compartment. Coco room to test for traps again. Ooh, we got one. Oh, there's another. It is Jover. But it happens. Oh well. While that's happening, Yeti to tank the mortar. It's a bit of a low period now where we're just kind of chilling again. Be very careful because she's going into the enemy queen to hold on to your freeze when the enemy queen triggers. Because enemy queen is like, what, 500 DPS or something? It's something incredible, so you don't want to mess with that. That's like, what, 3 expos? Anyway, bit of a low period again. I missed the rage on the healer, crucially. Very unlucky, but I had to waste this freeze spell on the enemy warden because I violated my own rule. I didn't even get level 1 to get the healer's rage. Very sad. Anyway, the queen's about to engage the Clan Castle. Hold on to her poison. Ooh, Clan Castle, poison. King on the side to help with funneling the troops because we didn't use the king. And then we Rage Eternal Tome and pray. Most of the Eternal Tome ended up getting cancelled by the Tornado Trap, but nevertheless we proceed as planned, sprinkling Hogs on the side to ensure pathing. Unfortunately, I think my Headhunters died off to random AoE, so the King is kind of stopping us, but oh well, no big deal. It's basically one at this point, so just sit back, relax, and chill, I guess. I always liked using like super wall breakers as tanking at the end. It's kind of funny to see, the defenses try in vain to stop the super wall breakers, targeting random ass walls, and then it just targets it anyway. Moving on to the recall super bowlers, the recommended army and clan castle composition is once again shown on screen. The Flamefinger is actually necessary this time, though the Yeti is still optional because you might not actually need to tank anything. Like before, you can change the Yeti for more cleanup or like another ice golem, anything you prefer really, if tanking for the Flamefinger is not necessary. Unlike the Hogs, the super bowlers have less mobility but much more tankiness, meaning they can sustain concentrated fire under raged up healers instead of just getting one shot like the Hogs. This makes super bowler smash one of the best ways to deal with anti 2-star bases. Final property to get the super bowlers into the center of the ring base, daisy chaining rage spells in the process, and eternal toming when pressure gets pretty high. When done correctly, this can punch through the core of the base and allow the royal champion and other cleanup troops to take care of the rest. Crucially, because we don't pack a poison spell in favor of an additional rage spell for the queen recall phase, unlike normal queen charges where you do want to prioritize enemy CC, for the recall super bowler strategy you do want to avoid triggering enemy CC during the initial funneling queen walk phase. Since I don't have a anti 2-star base, this one that attacked in Clan War earlier last week will have to do. So to do a super bowler attack, it's actually even simpler than a twin hog attack. You kind of, again, arbitrarily split the base into like a 3x3. It's, again, not very scientific, but you know, it's just to tell you like what exactly you should expect each portion of your thing to do. Then now that it's in 3x3, you choose one quadrant, or not quadrant, this block, I guess, and then you eliminate the surrounding blocks. So let's arbitrarily choose, I want to attack from here, right? Then you're like, well, how do I ensure that my super bowlers don't go like this way or that way? Well, that's where the recall comes in. So the first bit is that the flame flinger has to take out one of the adjacent blocks. So let's say the flame flinger takes out like this bit, right? And then the queen has to take out this bit, the other adjacent bit. So now imagine none of these buildings exist and your bowlers go in here, right? It has no choice but to keep going to the center. And as long as it gets to the center and you got the eternal tome and rages and whatever, you're chilling. Anyway, so we expect the flame flinger to take out one block, the queen to take out another block. After it takes out that block, you recall her out so that it's actually not about the queen, it's about the healers that are going with the queen. Anyway, you recall the queen and the healers out, and then you put them, well, everyone basically here, like all here, right? The 2 ice golems, 3 super bowlers, the leftover balloons, walk break the first layer, you know, jump somewhere. Actually, this is a terrible angle for attack, but we'll talk about it later. Your king, your grand warden, and yeah, that's about it. And then once it gets to about the center bit, it has wiped out most of the center stuff. You can put on the royal champion from one of the sides to sweep out the rest. Anyway, so that's the general plan. How do we keep the bowlers alive? The bowlers are kept alive by the healers that were healing the queen in the recall phase, right? So exactly like why you would want to rage healers to keep a queen alive in a queen charge, you would rage your healers to keep bowlers alive in the super bowler attack. So basically, you would like rage and then keep daisy chaining rages just to keep the bowlers alive, right? This way, you should have at least 1 or 2 bowlers surviving by the time you're finished with the core. And then at that point, like all the core defenses are gone, so you can kind of just let the royal champion and other various cleanup like wizards, minions, whatever, to take out the rest. Now, that's the general plan. What is the direction that is the best to attack in? So as mentioned earlier, Clan Gusto is bad, right? So if you were to want to, let's say, queen walk this bit and then recall, well, that's going to trigger the clan castle. So we probably don't want to initiate our attack in any of these, right? So let's say then that we want to go from this direction like we initially thought about. But the problem then is that the wall breakers don't necessarily break this wall, and the jump doesn't take you necessarily to the center, right? Because you probably have to like jump here or something. I don't know if the jump covers all of that, but nevertheless, like if you misclick and the jump doesn't cover that, you're screwed, right? If you try to like jump here and you cover both of these walls so that bowlers can go like in this direction or something, and it doesn't cover both walls, you're screwed. So it might work, but it also might not. So because we don't necessarily guarantee that the super bowler is going to the core with that direction, that's probably a bad idea too. So then it leaves like either one of the corners, like so, or one of the sides. The sides are a little bit better, but I thought the corner is more likely to guarantee the boulders go in, because realistically you just have to jump this bit, right? And at that point you take out probably like what, all of these basically are gone, right? And realistically the only threat you have to deal with is this and that, and you're chilling. And the king with this giant gauntlet, especially with the ward and internal tone bug, can probably kill that inferno as well after breaking through this wall. So it's just a scatter shot, and Royal Champion can 1v1 the scatter shot. Anyway, so I thought that direction was the best to go from. So then, now that we've chosen the direction, what do? Well, you expect the Flame Finger to take out one of these, right? I figured that the Flame Finger is probably better suited at taking out this bit, because there's this nice little gap like here-ish that's out of both archers' ranges. So the Flame Finger can take this bit, that bit, this bit, and the super boulders can go in that way. And also the queen's under less threat on this side, so you might even be able to save a rage. You might not be able to, but you also might be able to, right? So that's the rationale. Basically, queen, try to go push the queen in here, take out all of these. Flame Finger, take out most of these. Probably doesn't take out any of these, but that's okay. So take out most of these. Super boulder in here. Jump here. Raging in the process to try and keep the boulders alive. And that's the plan. After the boulders get to the center, you put the Royal Champion either through here or through the other side. Whichever is lighter. It doesn't really matter. Just make up your mind at the time and you're fine. Now that we've got the plan down and everything, let's see it in action. So as planned, we should put the Flame Finger about here-ish, so it's out of the range of these two archer towers. The queen should go in from the about 10 o'clock-ish area, take out that bit, so it leaves this narrow funnel for the super boulders to go in. Jump here, and we should be good. So, but you should always plan for contingencies, because per Murphy's Law, everything that can go wrong will go wrong. So, you know. Anyway, let's see how it goes. Kokoloo, as always, I didn't get a trap this time, but it's still a good habit to go in. I don't know why I raged. I think my personal AI is as dumb as the queen's AI, but maybe it's just to speed up the funnel. I'm a bit dumb. Don't worry about it. But now that this quadrant has mostly been taken out, we should recall the queen sometime soon. Well, now. Yeah, there you go. Let's pause here. So you see that the super boulders can actually go south, like go completely off course, go south instead of going to the core, right? Because of these two buildings. So we should quickly take out these two buildings before putting the super boulders. And okay, that's exactly what I do. Smart Kermit. There you go. But in the meantime, we can get the perimeter stuff killed. Now we just throw in literally everything. Yep, very, very strategic. Just throw in everything. It just works. There you go. Rage Daisy Chain starts now because we're under a bit more pressure. So you see that under the rage effect, it heals for healing a lot, right? As this works the exact same as like a queen charge where you rage the healers when the pressure gets high. But now that we've taken out the Town Hall and the Eagle Artillery, it's basically already won. You see the Giant's Gauntlet bug with the Warden as well. I think I was invincible the whole time. Anyway, I guess I ended up deciding the top is weaker, so I threw in my Royal Champion at the top. But it was already won like 30 seconds. Ability. Okay, now it's extra one. Throw in the whatever funnel, not funnel, cleanup troops you got, and GG. But you can see that this is a lot simpler to execute than a Twin Hog attack, right? There's not so much to worry about. Just rage, and rage again, and then pray. Eternal Homing when pressure gets high, right? But you do need to do a proper funnel, and knowing how to funnel properly is actually harder than you think, because I've had way too many times super borders just go off to Narnia. So I do recommend not using this against anti-3-star bases because they tend to make it very hard to funnel. It's not really worth using a super borders strat on that. Anyway, moving on to the next one. Before I proceed with this one, I should note that this army is basically Itsu's Town Hall 15 Recall Super Border Smash army, except with some minor alterations to his like Electro Titan slot, because A, I don't have 320 housing space, and B, I don't have the Electro Titan. So I take out some of the stuff and exchange it for a Apprentice Warden. But effectively, the strategy is the same. Anyway, this is one of the Clan War attacks I got from one of the Clan Wars earlier last week, I think. And we can do the exact same, 3x3 analysis, right? So, yeah, and then yeah, and then yeah, and then yeah. Oh my god, that might sucks. Yikes. You know what I mean, though. Now, notice Clan Castle here. So definitely don't want to mess with, these blocks, right? Because we don't want to trigger the Clan Castle early. Well, Queen can go in through here or through here. That's fine, because I won't trigger the Clan Castle, but definitely don't go in through those, right? So, my smart ass decided, well, wouldn't it be funny if I just go use the Queen from the opposite side? And that's exactly what I do. So, Queen goes in from there. Fine then. We expect the Queen to take out these bits, and then the Flame Finger probably takes out about these bits. It could have done the bottom one as well, but the top one I figure had a Grand Warden, so it's technically higher value than Super Bowler and the King and the Recalled Queen healers, Kokoloons, whatever, everything straight here. Crucially, however, because of the Super Wall Breaker's targeting, you need to make sure that this Archer Tower and this Archer Tower goes down before you try to wall break, like here, right? Because otherwise your wall breakers, if like placed here, will go to break this wall or break that wall, which is not that bad because you have 3 super wall breakers. So even if you break those 2, you can still break this one. But just as like a detail, you kind of want these to go down first before trying to break this wall, because you want to break this wall because you want to jump here, right? You don't want to jump there. That's kind of dumb. So jumping here allows your boulders the perfect access into the core, while jumping there, your boulders are like stuck behind the wall, and then there's like a Clan Castle pelting you, and then there's Town Hall pelting you, and it's just no thanks, right? So anyway, with that out of the way, we just use the same strategy as before. Daisy chaining rages like so, and then if the pressure gets too high, you use the Eternal Tome, basically ignoring the CC, because unless it's triple Ice Golems, it's not a significant threat to you. And then after the core has mostly been taken out, you use the not Grand Warden, Royal Champion on the side with less pressure. Because there's an enemy Grand Warden, no, Royal Champion there, you probably want to go this way, right? With the Royal Champion. So that's the plan. With the plan out of the way, let's take a peek at the actual attack. So as planned, we put the Flame Finger up top, Queen here with the Kokoloon. It's a good habit. I guess I don't get anything, but no problems. Bit of a low period where we can just talk about skins again. I saw the leaks of the Lunar New Year skins. The King goes incredibly hard. Oh my god, it looks so good. I may or may not be willing to get that entire set. It looks so freaking good, dude. Anyway. We should be recalling soon. Already now, because this quadrant is entirely empty now. There we are. Recall. Take out that bit with a Queen, because like these can technically make her boulders go in this way, right? But yeah, so that's why we put it a bit later. Anyway, everything in, jump here to go get access to the core. I don't know what I use that super wall breaker for. Probably don't do that in the future. There's a lot of pressure from like everything, so Grand Warden ability. Daisy chaining rages in the process. I mean now it's basically just one. Royal Champion through the bottom because there's less pressure there, and then it's pretty much just GG now. Throwing your cleanup troops, bottom, I guess, and then you're done. But see, like, if you plan proper, so this one you can't really react to things going wrong. Unlike the what's it called, Twin Hogs, where you can kind of adjust when things go wrong. This one you can't really adjust, but if you plan properly, it's so easy to pull off. Look at this, easy claps. There's the army. There you go. With the 2 attacks out of the way, we can talk a little bit about the hero equipment used. For Queen Charge Twin Hogs, the King doesn't actually play a big role, so the equipment is not very significant. I do recommend the Rage Vial at least, for emergency funnel if the Queen goes off course. Otherwise, it's kind of up to you, whatever, like Vamp Stash, Barbarian Puppet, you know, whatever you prefer. For Recall Super Bowler though, the Giant's Gauntlet is crucial because after your Ice Golems go down, you need something to pick up the primary tanking role, and ideally that's not always the Super Bowlers. With the Giant Gauntlet with Eternal Tome interaction currently bugged, there's even more reason to take it. The other equipment can be just Rage Vial or whatever else you find effective. Queen equipment is very straightforward, Invisibility Vial is required, the other one doesn't matter. I'm currently waiting on the Frost Arrow or whatever it will be called, so I will default to the Archer Puppet as the second equipment. For Warden equipment, the Eternal Tome is a hard requirement. Invalidating enemy base for like 8 to 9 seconds is way too strong to pass up. As for the other one, for Twin Hogs, either the Life Gem or Healing Tome can work, because Life Gem max HP improvement is still a pretty big increase compared to the Hog's normal HP. For Super Bowlers, an Apprentice Warden can mostly replace the Life Gem, so I recommend the Healing Tome instead. Royal Champion has no alternative equipment at the time of writing, so default is all good. The attacks mentioned are just my favorites when going through Town Hall 13. They aren't necessarily the best attacks ever, they're just easier to pick up and master than other even harder attacks. For example, Lalo variations like Queen Charge Lalo or Blizzard Lalo are probably even more consistent in skilled hands, but I don't have skilled hands. Anyway, let me know what you think through either a comment here or a message through Discord. I'm hoping fellow Town Hall 13s and future Town Hall 13s the best of luck in your attacks. Take care.